Welcome back to Pastor Plex Podcast. I'm your host, Pastor Plex, and joining me is none other than Bruno DeCanto.
Hey, howdy.
Obviously not his real name, but that's okay. He is a covert missionary engaged in the world of freeing people that have been sex trafficked and pushing back darkness. And last time we were here, we sort of stopped the story in, was it the Sudan?
I think it was Sudan.
Yeah. So let's talk about, I think you took on a little girl.
Yeah.
Is adopted the right word?
You know, it is and it isn't. So international law and war zones being what it is, you can't actually adopt some of these children.
Okay.
Because you don't know if their parents are alive. Or what's going on. And there's this whole registry thing. So, it was a group of people, and we just really connected with this one, and we ended up just taking her on as our own. And she's not able, because of the situation being what it is, she was never able to leave.
Right.
South Sudan now. She's never able to leave South Sudan, but we take care of her. We're still in contact with her, and we do all that stuff. And she's part of a mission group out there. She's a missionary herself. Wow. And we still are in full contact with her. She's real cool.
Okay, so you're married?
No. I was.
No, meaning at this point.
Oh, yes.
So you're in South Sudan.
Yeah.
You are you've taken on a little girl. What kind of work were you doing there again? Just to kind of keep us up again.
So what we were actually doing, we were doing refugee, it's another
resettlement.
So it's the word is like when you're helping people. So we were working with the UN. You have to get your little sphere cards and all that. And you help with refugees passing through the border, and you help with that. But what we were doing was a lot of extraction work.
Okay. So a lot of extraction work. Tell me about, like, when you say extraction work, what exactly does that mean? Like, what are you doing when you extract? Can you tell me like a story of one time I was extracting this person and this is what it looked like?
Yeah. So I thought about it, right? Because this is, all right. So, all right. So extraction work takes a long time. It's work you're working with a lot of different organizations,
right?
Government organizations, law enforcement, a lot of different mission orgs, other nonprofits, bush pilots,
right?
So what happens is there are people who are on the ground and they're aware of movement of different groups, whether it's a rebel group, the SPLA, the Dinka, the Nuer, all these people, and they're like, hey, there's this village over here. We've got contact, and there's some people that are going to come in there. We can get there in this fashion.
And how did you get there usually? Were you on foot? Were you jumping in?
So normally it's caravans.
Okay.
Caravanning is the most popular way to go. But sometimes there are like bush pilots, that'll get you out.
Did you ever do any airborne ops?
I never did. I mean, I've done practice, but I've never known.
Oh, because that would have been next level.
I'm not that cool.
Or maybe helicasting or fast rope, something like that. Okay. So you come in, you come into country, you get there by most likely caravan. You come in and are you armed?
So it just depends. Again, everything is situational. We're normally working with the local military that's in control of the area, which isn't always the national force. For instance, once we had to work with a group that I'm not a big fan of, but we had to work with them anyhow.
Yeah.
And they were the ones that were spreading out and laying lines down. So that way, when they came into contact, we were able to get the children, and we weren't armed in that specific one. Now, there was another time when we were in Nuba where we went in armed.
Okay.
And it just depends on the situation.
And how can you walk around with guns when, is that like a normal thing? Like, does everyone have guns or
actually.
Okay. Cause it's just that dangerous. Like if you don't have a gun, you're an idiot.
Well, in that specific, again, it's circumstantial. There are a lot of places where in order to get into it, you've got permits that you need to go to get through checkpoints.
Right.
So as you guys are driving through, you're driving through checkpoint, and they're checking your stuff. They're checking your vans.
Yes.
Do you have what it says you have? And as you go through, it's more and more likely that, okay, where you're going, we understand. Everyone already knows that we're on our way.
Okay.
Except for the people who are coming.
So who was not thrilled about your presence?
Normally it's the people who are trying to get the kids, or
right. Like, so the government's like, is the government on the team or no?
Not always. So not always. We worked with I'll just throw one out there. So we worked with the SPLA. Not a big fan of the SPLA.
All right, you have to, for those who are us who don't know what the SPLA is.
The Sudan People's
Liberation Army. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of those guys, but where we were getting into, they were in control of that area. And so the best way to get this group, there's a little village, and they were like, hey, we're going to lose this battle. We can't hold the line. Well, you get these kids out of here.
Right.
So we had to have the okay with those people to go in there and get it. South Sudan is not a fan of those guys. So if South Sudan would have saw that we had those stamps, then the government of Sudan would never let us in there. South Sudan would never let us in there.
Right.
We would be labeled, bad guys.
Bad guys, right.
But the goal isn't to be okay with them. The goal is to save as many children and women and men as possible, and to preach the gospel while we're doing it.
All right, how do you preach the gospel while you say, repent? Like,
no, yeah, no, it's so OT. But a lot of the times what we do is we go in, and it's all very circumstantial. Sometimes what we do is speaking to the guy on your side, right? Because the guy that you're working with isn't always a Christian.
But they're believing. Hey, we want to do the right thing.
Well, maybe they're just getting paid.
They're just mercenaries.
Yeah. Well,
how many mercenaries are just out there like, hey, I'm a gun for hire. What do you want done?
A lot more than we realize, probably.
Yeah.
But it's all labeled like private security. They're just helping security or search and rescue.
Sure.
And so when you're sitting there and you're telling the story, you're talking about the Lord, you're showing that you're willing to put yourself out there. At the same time, these children, when they come in, you're like, hey, I'm a missionary. I love you so much. Everyone get in here. I want you to know Jesus loves you. We're here for you. This is like the most tangible. The Bible says, there's no greater love than this, than someone would lay down their life for another. And I'm willing to do that for you. Here we are. These guys are laying down their life for you. They're laying down your life for you. Everyone in the van, let's go. And the kids are like, what? And normally they're aware, and it's controlled chaos, but it's controlled. And the message gets out there right away, like, hey, we love Jesus, and let's let this happen. And in perfect world, and in most times, there's not a point. We're able to get in there before there's contact.
All right. So tell me about what does contact look like? And whenever I say contact, that's usually a firefight. So contact with the enemy looked like. Because are you sneaking in, stealing the girl's back?
No.
Or you're like, it's a full assault. It's like, lay down, suppress a fire. Hey, cover me while I move.
Yeah, so it's similar to that. Contact looks like we show up, everyone's moving out. We have someone who's got drones, so their eyes, hey, there's movement over here, there's this over there. We're already set down, and then we have different perimeter lines let up, and then you hear, ka-ka, and then they'll let us know, hey, there's something over here. We got eyes on them over here, okay? Lay back fire there.
So who's command and control in all this?
It depends on who you're with. So if it's with the SPLA, normally the SPLA is going to have SPLA soldiers.
But are they caring about children? Like, you're going there with a mission to get children, and they're like, oh, we're on board with that. Come join us. I mean, how does that, when in the military, we had liaison officers. You had your, we had an Air Force guy in our battalion talk that he would come and he'd coordinate fires with the Air Force because it's a different unit. You guys are a missionary group that has do you have a liaison there at?
Yes and no. So, okay. So the way we find out about this is there are mission organizations. You can blank this out if I shouldn't say it. MAF is one, right? And MAF, the way that they go about it is they put chaplains in with all of these groups. And it's funny because you'll have these two groups who are fighting with each other, and they have missionaries, this Jojo over here and George over there, and they're with each group, aware of the movement of preaching the gospel to both of them as they're fighting with each other.
Right. Kind of like chaplains-ish.
Yes.
And they'll say and then so you coordinate with those guys.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, we got this group. There's this village. This fight's about to happen. We're coordinated with these. Sometimes
because you were in the middle of Sudan still is civil war.
Yeah, South Sudan. Yeah.
So you were South Sudan going through civil war.
Yeah,
and you're in the middle of that just chaos.
It was chaotic sometimes.
Because in a sense, like, and I think right now they're trying to get all the different of South Sudan. They're trying to get all the armies to kind of, they're having chaplains go to kind of minister to kind of consolidate one big. So that's wild. Would you say the South Sudanese were Christian?
Not all of them,
or like had a.
So that's a good point. So that's actually a misassumption.
Yeah,
we hear like South Sudan broke up. It was the Muslim North and the Christian South.
Right.
Maybe that was kind of a thing, but South Sudan is.
And a lot of people listening don't even know where Sudan is. So like
yeah, it's in Africa.
Yeah.
So there are a lot more Christians because it's legal to be a Christian in South Sudan, but it's animism. It's
all the things.
It's all the things.
But they're generally for what you're doing. Generally,
it's hard. It's hard because a lot of people don't see anything wrong with taking little boys and making them
slaves.
That's not an issue. And they don't see anything wrong with kidnapping girls. Some people do. It really is a toss up. So a lot of these guys, they'll throw money around. They'll be like, hey, let's, we're here in the city. We can do this. I'll pay you to let me bring some people in and we'll get these kids out.
Yeah. I had a missionary in East Africa and, he would have to bribe the police all the time to kind of get through to kind of like, hey,
talking about that, but it's true.
Yeah. It's like it was like a cost of doing business. For me to be able to do missionary work here, I have to pay off this guy or else I'm going to have to whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you kind of had to do it to rescue these kids. There's a cost involved. They're worth whatever that money is.
Yes.
And so like that got me a gate open so that I can go in and pull out these kids.
Yeah. And another thing, people, so when you're tithing, you never know what it's going for. Your tithe might be going to save some kids somewhere who have a horrific life. But thank God there are Christians out there who are willing to do something that most people wouldn't in order to save somebody.
Okay, so let's get back to this. So your family are all hanging out in South Sudan.
And so the girls never went into the hot zones. They were always in
by Lake Victoria.
So no, they were in northern Uganda.
Yeah.
So on just a couple hours south of South Sudan.
Yeah. Okay. Your wife though, was she there?
Yeah.
She was with you in South Sudan.
Yes.
Okay, and so she's got her M4 strapped to her chest. No,
not her.
Okay, she was just kind of being the counselor person for.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's also a medical professional.
Mm-hmm.
So she checks the girls and the boys and makes sure.
Did she carry a sidearm though?
Yeah.
Okay, so she had just a one on her hip or on her thigh. All right, so you're going in battle with your wife. You guys are getting firefights. Did she ever get hit?
No.
Did you ever get hit?
By like fly rock and stuff, but nothing crazy.
Nice. And so then you're taking out these guys because this is like deadly work to pull out, free people. Did you ever have like any PTSD or any sort of anger, like the?
That's the thing.
Like the anger comes of like, because you get when you, it's weird in combat. You don't necessarily feel a fear, but you do feel like an aggression of like, I'm here to do business.
Yeah. So I struggle. I think sadness is something that I struggle with. I struggled for a long time. I struggled with not being sad because I didn't normally get sad. I got pissed.
Yeah.
If someone gets hurt or someone's like, oh, I hurt my foot, it's anger.
Yeah.
Oh, if my daughter cries, I'm mad at the world. If something sad happens, I'm like, oh, anger. Then there are other things too, smells, noises that just kind of mess with you. But thank goodness, there's the Lord who helps you, and we've got science and counseling. But yeah, there's a lot of holdover that people don't realize. Like, for instance, we're talking about combat, but there are other situations when you go into a place where there's a brothel and you know about kids and you've hired people to watch these kids and you've got someone who goes in and they like are reading stories and talking about buying somebody, right? And then you see these children and you're like, all right, we're gonna do this. This is this long thing where you're investing time. You've never met the child. Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm gonna cry. And then someone buys the kid before you can, and you're like, crap, we lost her. So that also plays. And then again, anger. Yeah. Right? Because you're mad. Because you're like, whoa, why couldn't we do this faster? Yeah. And why, there's so much paperwork and there's that's frustrating.
Yeah. Okay. So how long were you in South Sudan?
Sheesh. So we were there 2 times, probably about 7 months and 4 months.
So 7 month stint, come back down to Uganda, 4 month stint.
No, so we go in, we do the work, then we come out. We're based out of Uganda. We're here. We spent more time in Nuba actually, which is technically Sudan.
Yeah.
And it just depends on where we need to be, and we're very mobile to get where you need to be.
Okay. So you're in this area, you're doing all this work. It's wild to kind of hear about all this. You finally get done, if done is the right word. And then what's the plan? Like, what was your exit strategy, or what made you leave South Sudan?
Oh, well, so this is funny. We always say that it was a happy problem. We ran into a really good problem, which is at first no one cared about South Sudan.
Right.
So no one was there.
Right.
And then all of a sudden people started hearing about it. And then there was a flood of missionaries, and there were a bunch of people who were willing to go and help. And we just weren't needed there anymore. There were a lot of people who would do that. And our prayer was always, if there's somewhere someone doesn't want to go, Lord, send us. And then people started wanting to go there again.
And so there wasn't an issue with freeing sex slaves or human trafficked people anymore, or
there still is. It's just now they have a lot more people who are trained, equipped. They have the teams on the ground. They're trained. They're ready. They're doing it. Doing it.
So from South Sudan, where'd you go?
Let's see. From South Sudan, we went. So this is interesting. So from South Sudan, the girls went. Well, one of the girls stayed with me. The girls went back to the U.S. for a couple months, and we started scoping out Addis, because that's when the whole Tigray thing happened with Eritrea, the Tigray people, and then the Amhar in Ethiopia.
We don't know that story.
Well, so there was...
And just in case people don't know, Ethiopia borders South Sudan.
And Somalia. So
on one side is Somalia, on the other side is Sudan.
South Sudan, Eritrea, Djibouti, which is a really funny country name. But yeah, so... as we were leaving, the whole Ethiopia thing happened, and we were like, oh, and people were talking to us like, hey, there's a lot of anti-trafficking that's needing to go on over here, because the Ethiopians were taking and moving into into Eritrea, and then Eritrea is where? Eritrea is right next door to Ethiopia.
So on the east side, northeast side, kind of towards Djibouti.
Not far from Saudi.
Okay,
just over there.
Nice.
And so we went over there and we started getting ourselves settled up and meeting teams and finding out what's there. And we were there for about 6 months as well. But it was just me and my oldest daughter, who at this time, she was like 16 or 17, but she's very mature.
And she took on the role of...
she took on the role of counselor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of what we work with is just trafficking in general. But trafficking in general with women, unfortunately, always goes one way. It's always sex slavery. You know what I mean? It's not fair for them.
Okay. So, all right, you're then in Djibouti for a season. Your wife and other daughters go to the U.S.?
We were in Ethiopia.
So you're in Ethiopia, which is really close to Djibouti.
It is.
And then your wife and other daughters went home.
Yep.
To the United States.
Yes.
To Austin?
No, to Wyoming.
To Wyoming.
Yep.
Have they been there before?
Yeah. Yep. That's where my youngest was born.
That's right. Okay. All right. So they're in Wyoming. How long are you guys separated for?
Maybe 2 months. And
okay.
Then we went there then we came back. Then we united again and started working again as a family.
Where?
In the northern part, just outside of the Tigray region. When
you say Tigray, you got to remind me again. Sorry.
That's up in the northeast part of Ethiopia.
Okay. So is it like Eritrea? Is that like that country?
Very, very close to there.
All right. So you're working again, still doing that. Is this a war-torn area or just a sex slave area?
That's war. A lot of what we do happens in war. War makes people money, but there's a very, very, very real thing that happens in war, and that's that people get bought, sold, and stolen a lot in war zones because the law breaks down and people recognize, hey, we can take people here and we can sell them and we could force them and we could whatever. There's just not a lot of law.
Okay. So then so how, when you save them, how do you know they're not going back especially in these war torn areas?
So in a sense that you don't always know that.
Right. I mean, you might as well try, right? But
yeah. But there are organizations in almost every country. And we work with those guys who they know how it works, and we sit and we talk with law enforcement, we talk with these orgs, and they have houses set up, they have programs set up, schools for girls, counseling. A lot of the times when a woman is stolen from her family or her community, she's actually not normally accepted back into her community. If we were to save her and send her home, she'd be an outcast. She wouldn't be able to have a husband or a life of any way because they would assume that she'd been raped, which means no one wants her as a wife anymore. So these programs, they have these other places where they set up a new life for them. And that's kind of like we get them and then we put them in the system where the system starts working and teaching them about the Lord. We're working on reconciliation, so there's what is it that says? It's no longer I who live, but Christ who lives within me, right?
Yeah, Galatians 2:20.
And I believe that is also restoring. So they're working on restoration and fixing them and then getting them a new home, new life, new hope, and planting them with the church and helping them grow from what happened.
Yeah, that's wild. Okay, so you're in Djibouti, you're up north near the Eritrea. Then you head back where?
We came back to the U.S.
Okay, where to?
That was Austin. We were actually in Austin.
Okay, so you get back to Austin, and what year was that?
Sheesh. I don't know. I think it was I want to say it was during COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you're like, life is awful. Let's get back to a war zone.
We actually didn't acknowledge COVID.
Oh, nice.
They were like, we showed up and people were like, oh, the masks. I was like, I've got my vaccination. What are you talking about? Like the Ebola? There's not even Ebola where I'm at. And they're like, no, it's COVID. I'm like, no, it's Ebola. I promise. And they're like, no, COVID. I'm like, what are you even talking about? Like, it didn't exist where we were.
Yo, that's wild. Okay. So then you're hanging out here during COVID. And then are you like, we got to get out of here? Or what was the thought?
Then we were getting counseling.
Oh, okay. Marriage counseling.
All sorts of counseling.
Okay. Like, hey, PTSD counseling. Yes.
PTSD counseling, marriage counseling, trying to get the kids.
Where'd you go for that?
So I'm really lucky. I get to go to I actually go out in North Carolina to the Veterans Center.
Oh, nice.
In North Carolina out there, out by Greer.
Yeah.
That's where I get to go. They do EMDR. They do all sorts of.
So you were but your wife, did she go to the same place?
She does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she went to the same place. You guys are, do you have a job at this time? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, did you, I don't, it sounds like if you were a mercenary, that's tons of money. If you're if people were paying you to rescue their kids, I'm sure there's tons of money there, but this is missionary work.
Yeah,
and so
we don't get paid very much for that.
Yeah. So how are you surviving?
So generally when we're on the mission field, you pull a salary from the church. When we come home, they drop it like it's hot.
Yeah.
But, so I've got a CDL and I'm able to drive truck. I am always able to go and work in the oil field. I mean, the oil field work is always there. So we come home, I work either in the oil field or driving truck. This time, actually, I started out driving these weird cable things and dropping them in cement, helping out building these houses out in Georgetown, like Santa Rita, I think the name of the place is.
Yeah, Santa Rita Ranch.
Yeah. And I was just there doop, 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 doop. And we were there, and then they were so nice. They let us go, and I was like, "Hey, man, I got to go to do this counseling. I'll be back in a few weeks." They're like, "Sure, cool."
Okay, so you do the counseling. How's the marriage at that point?
I thought it was good. I never realized it was bad.
Right. Okay. So then, but you're not done. It's not like you're like, hey, it's time to retire from the mission field. It's like
no, So my wife had mentioned that. She's like, maybe we need to slow down. And then I was like, yeah, okay, let's slow down. Let's do this whole
do a group.
thing.
Yeah.
And then I think it was I want to say maybe February 24th when Russia invaded. And 2 weeks later, we were in Ukraine.
2 weeks later from the start of the war with Russia and Ukraine, you're in where?
So we started out in, what's the name of that little place? It's this little city in Romania. They have a missionary base there. It's a really, really cool city. It's not far from the south border of Ukraine.
Like Bucharest or?
No, it's north of Bucharest.
Like Bacau or Lassi or?
Geesh, I don't even know the name of the city.
Like north of Bucharest. I'm like, where's that?
It's definitely north of Bucharest. It's a big city too. Like, Cluj. Cluj-Napoca. Cluj-Napoletali.
Cluj-Napoca. Okay, so you go to Cluj-Napoca, big city. That's toward the north central, and then you're just west of Moldova, and so then you go from Romania, or did you headquarter out of Cluj?
For the first few, for 2 months we were in Cluj, and again,
tell me the ages of your kids at this point.
Let me see. When was that?
So 22,
and today's 23. So 14, 15, and 17. No, because right now they're 14, 15, 13.
And you have all daughters.
All daughters.
And your girls were like, "Let's go to war."
Yeah.
Sweet.
Except for my youngest.
She was kind of like, "Hey, I kind of like it here."
Yeah. I screwed up there.
Oh, man. Right.
But the other two were so gung-ho. My oldest daughter still to this day works in that field.
That's wild. Okay, so you go to Cluj. You hang out there for how long?
Maybe 2 months.
And is this where you're back in action? You're on support?
Yep. So we're missionaries. We're being supported. We're trying to figure out, because it was a cluster. So we have to figure out, how can we get in there? Who do we need to know in the service? Where's what? Who's working? What are the operations? What are the issues they're having? Trying to figure all that out. How can we move a family in there? What's the strike zone? How quick is the encroachment coming? Are they pushing back? What's Russia got? Are these nukes? Are there, because there were
tactical nukes.
Yeah, they were like, we're going to nuke the place, and like, is this a real threat? Is it not?
Right.
Trying to work together and figure out who is what, because there were so many NGOs out there.
Yeah,
and trying to sift through that, and then once we were able to go through all of that, which took a few months, then we slowly made our way into Ukraine.
Okay, so what city in Ukraine did you get to?
I can't say.
All right, what? Okay, so you get into the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Are you on the front lines?
Not instantly, no. So we started out. Oh, well, actually, here's a really, really. I'll tell you this story. So this is interesting, and this, I think, if you pull up news stuff, then you'll see this story. So there was a friend of ours we hadn't seen since Wyoming, and they'd adopted a Ukrainian girl, and they heard we were going to Ukraine, and they got a hold of us. It was like, hey, we wanted to adopt this girl, and she wasn't. They stopped the adoption. Can you find her? We lost contact, so we're like, yeah, we'll do our best. And she was in a place called Mykolaiv, was the orphanage. And so she's an American, this girl is, because she was fully adopted, And we went over there, and the whole orphanage had disappeared when Russia had that quick advance. And we were asking around and calling and getting a hold of these people, those people, and the other. And finally, we did end up tracking them down through the whole. This is a nuts story, man. This is probably the coolest story of my life.
All right, go. Tell me the story.
So we went in there and we're like, hey, can you guys give us some? We have a pin, and we're looking down. We're like, where is this? And they're like, it's in Mykolaiv. So we look down. They're like, that's Russian control. We're like, oh, well, there's this orphanage there. Like, yeah, the orphanage got moved before they came. So then we got a hold of the secretary of something. They have so many secretaries in Ukraine.
Right.
And of ministerial orphanages. And so they were like, yeah, they're over here. We got a hold. They said, no, they never made it. And one thing led to another. And it turns out that they were taken.
Oh, gosh. By Russians?
By the Russians. Oh, yeah. And so we're like, well, there's an American there. And, all this is going to be really quiet, because if they find out they have an American, we don't know what's going to happen.
Wow.
So we ended up trying to go out there several times, and we were like,
when you say go out there, are you on patrol, on by foot, on caravan? What are you doing?
So there's there are a lot of lines in order to get to the front line,
right?
And you need paperwork to get there. And so hey, can we go out there? We have this from this such and such general or so and so commander says we can go out there. We're just going to look to see what can we see with our eyes. Is this possible for us to get into and sneak into? Can we sneak into this place and get these kids out? And everyone's like, no, no, no. And then they finally let us in. And sure enough, we definitely couldn't. And then we heard that they were going to start fighting, that they were like the counteroffensive was coming. Like, sweet, cool. We're going to just be with you guys. And we want to be a quick response team. Watch out when you guys are using artillery. Right here is an orphanage. And it's got kids in it, we believe. And I don't know if Russia ever got that news because we called them. We were like, leave the kids out of this. We didn't call Russians specifically, but there are ways to do that, to be like, there are kids here, check it, clear this area. And the Ukrainians are like, okay, we're going to steer clear of that area. And we ended up pushing. And then when we were close enough, we had hired a different group who's just some crazy knuckleheads that were like, we're going right now and go and get these kids. And they went in. One guy got injured pretty bad.
Like shot up?
Yeah. Well, no. So it was just landmines.
Landmines, yeah.
Russians are crazy with landmines. And so this got hit.
And they've had years and years and years and years of putting landmines out.
Yeah. And people don't understand, like, landmines aren't like what you see in the World War II movies. It's not like, oh, I can put my foot there. I mean, there's sonar, it's radio waves. It's tricky nowadays. But so that didn't work. And we tried, and then eventually they fought back there. We got to the place and they were gone. And we were able to
You fought back to the orphanage?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so the Ukrainians fought back to the orphanage. We were there just, we were preaching the gospel, getting water, helping with medicine, healing where we could, helping out, giving the combat medics a break, be like, hey, you take a break, I'll be here, and just preaching the gospel. Just doing
in Ukrainian?
In English. But that said, я трохи розмовляю українською.
Yeah.
Дуже добре, але чуть-чуть.
Yeah.
My Ukrainian is not bad anymore.
Okay.
But no, so there are translators. I mean, I want to say that there were probably in the beginning of the war, like 1/3 of their military was not Ukrainian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there were so many people over there, and that's who they like. Karpaty. Well, there's this name of this group, and it was a bunch of foreigners, and another one, they were a bunch of foreigners.
Like the French Foreign Legion kind of thing?
Ish. Yeah, yeah. It's like the International Legion and the Foreign Legion. And yeah.
Okay.
So, but we got there.
To the orphanage.
And the kids were gone. And so this, if you Google orphanage, I don't know, orphanage in Mykolaiv, Ukrainian war, taken by Russians or something, you'll see that they have videos of this whole thing. And one thing led to another. We chased them all the way to Kherson, and then they moved them into this re-education camp in Russia. And from there, just the whole thing got really crazy and really amazing. We got a chance to work with some of the most amazing people, some people who work inside of Russia. And we were able to get out the entire orphanage out of Russia and open up a corridor into a neighboring country. And we got them out of Russia into a different country, chilled out in Tbilisi for a little bit. And then it was just amazing. And so the Ukrainian girl, we got her back home in the United States, which is pretty cool.
That's wild.
Like, what is the chance of finding one specific person?
It was like Saving Private Ryan. All right. So like how many firefights and stuff did you kind of have to engage in that, or people you had to save or pull out or any of that?
So during that whole time, I wasn't the firefighter guy. I was just helping out medically as much as I could. And I don't count. You wake up and you go and you help as much as you can. And it's like, hey, this guy's bleeding. All right, let's do this. Let's get him food. Let's get bandages. Hey, I need someone to run out to Cluj, get more supplies. Let's do this. And then the whole time you're like,
run out to Cluj, like Romania.
Yeah. Well, there's always
how far is that? That's like Romania, Moldova, Ukraine. I mean, like
that's all within the size of Texas.
Oh, okay. So it's like a 4-hour drive or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Like when you don't know It's just like countries. You think that's far, but
yeah, it's like we had to drive to Houston.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. Got it. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. All right. So you're rescuing this girl, rescuing girls. You're serving. How did you feel about the Russians at the time?
I love Russians.
Yeah.
I felt it's hard. It was really difficult. So it's difficult to maintain the Christian mind's idea that you're there and these people are made in God's image, right? And then you come across in certain houses and stuff when you're running sweeps and trying to find people, and you see just nasty, horrible things that have happened to people, and you're like, "Urgh." But you have to remember, like, this is, these aren't my enemies.
Right.
These people specifically are
right
now because of what's going on. But I love Russians, but I can't explain it.
Yeah.
It's
no, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Complex.
I mean, were you like, the things, and you may not know this on the ground, like several echelons down from like leadership, but like you have, you had a lot of Ukrainian corruption. You've got Russian like oligarchy and craziness. And like, did you ever did you see any of that? Or was it just like bullets flying, rescuing people? We don't have time to think about that.
So yeah, again, it's not all action-packed story. It's a lot of chill. It's a lot of extremely tired. It's a lot of preaching the gospel to kids. It's Sundays and worships, and it's really interesting how you can be in a combat zone and then you go just far enough.
Yeah, I totally understand.
And people are like, "Oh, yeah, it's cool. We're just having a Sunday service here." And you're like, "All right, cool." And then you're like, "Remember, if you hear these noises, here's the protocol of what we do." And so there was a lot of that as well. It's not all chaos. It's really just showing me like I'm here because I love Jesus and I'm willing to do anything I can to tell you about Christ, to show you Christ. I want to show you that I love Jesus so much that I'm willing to do some crazy, crazy stuff to tell you about Jesus.
Yeah. Where is the Ukrainian-Russian war now?
They're pretty much at a stalemate. The last I heard is Ukraine has been pushing more and more drones into Russia lately. Yeah.
And what do you think? Do you see any end in sight, or is that just something you can't even say? Because
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea. It's that's not my country. I would hate to be in their shoes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So tell me about like when things went way south with your marriage, when you guys are all in Ukraine, you're doing great stuff, but it goes weird.
Yeah. Geez. Oof. Ah. Ooh, ah. All right. It was actually this operation when we were getting the orphanage. We split up as a team. And this is something we don't normally do a ton. We try to stay together as long as we can.
Yeah.
And we split together. We split up. She ended up taking one half. I ended up going home and supporting the service members because that's kind of what I'm comfortable with. Teaching medicine, being like a medic on the ground. And one thing led to another. I think I told you like, maybe I think I alluded to this, but maybe not. At one point, I was walking down the street and in the middle of Ukraine, just chilling because it was like our off time, right? So, and we were based in a safe part of Ukraine. So just walking down the street and I heard Spanish. And I'm like, what in the world is this? So I turn around and look, and there are all these Latinos. And crazy enough, so and this is like, I don't know, 10, 15 years later. I'm like, hola, ¿cómo estás? I actually speak really good Spanish. So, but and they're like, yo, what's up? And I find out that Ukraine was flying in a lot of fighters from Latin America. And these were Colombian fighters from like the FARC, and the same guys.
FARC.
It's a bad guy group in Colombia.
Okay.
And these are the same guys
that you had sort of battled against to get
that we weren't able to cross the. You remember I was talking about the Darien Gap?
They were the ones that screwed you.
Yeah, we couldn't cross the Darien Gap because of these guys. They're the ones that we were looking in the jungle, being like, man, I would love to speak to them about Christ someday. And here we are, I don't know how many years later, and they're at our footstep being like, hey, and at this point we had like this medical training down. We were doing some training. And I was like, hey, you should come through. We'll speak to these guys. They'll give you your paperwork. You can come through our training. We can get you all of your IFACs and all of this to first aid kit. And you can, but you have to listen to the gospel. Our whole everything is we will save your body. We care about your body, but I'm doing this because I want you to I want to save your soul. And they're like, yeah, sure, we'll do this. And crazy story. So many years later, they're coming to us to hear the gospel.
Wow.
And we're like, so here's how you do a tourniquet. I was like, if it doesn't hurt, it ain't working. I was like, now let me tell you about Jesus.
Oh, wow.
And like 8 of them ended up becoming Christian, and they left the group and they went back home. And it was so crazy cool. They did not fare well because it's a different type of warfare than they're used to. But the Christian dudes, they lived.
Yeah.
They lived, but the dudes who went actually to the fighting didn't do so hot.
That's wild. Okay. Wow. All right. I want to pause it right there. We're going to have to come back for part 3.
Sorry.
Because this is so good. At the same time, I feel like if we get into this next one, I don't want us to have to get cut off midway. So we're going to pause here, and we're going to come back next time to follow up the story with Bruno DeCanto. Covert missionary.
Yeah.
Black Ops missionary.
We don't talk about Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno. No. All right. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. We talk faith, culture, everything in between. We'll see you next time. Have an awesome week of worship.